Hi, I'm Brock Yates, and this is Level Cross, North Carolina, the stomping grounds of the legendary Petty dynasty. Today, we're going to give you a special treat, a look inside the home of the king of stock car racing, Richard Petty. Join me today on The Great Drivers. From the moment Richard Petty climbed behind the wheel of a Grand National stock car, his career has spiraled upward to a point where his records may never be surpassed. 26 years later, he has recorded 198 victories, including no less than 7 wins in the famed Daytona 500. He has been the NASCAR Grand National Champion 7 times and has repeatedly been cited as the sport's most popular driver. The son of stock car champion Lee Petty, Richard's footsteps are now being followed by his own son, Kyle, the Petty Racing Dynasty's 3rd-generation driver. He lives on a splendid rural estate in Level Cross, North Carolina, next to the home where he spent his childhood. Richard, this is kind of home base, isn't it? It's just where everything kind of settles down, and Adam and grandkids and everybody can kind of show up and just hang out with you.
Well, this is where it all started, and we've never really wanted to go anywhere else. I started here, and my family's here, my friends are here, everything I know's here, and no matter what we've accomplished over a period of time, then we're satisfied with being right where we started from.
It's a special thing in a lot of ways with American families splitting up so much these days, everybody going in different directions. It must be kind of satisfying to know that the Petty family really is stuck together, and kind of there's some substance there.
Well, I tell you, I guess it's the way we were brought up. Our family has always been close family, and the idea of keeping your family close, I think, everybody would really like to have it that way. Sometimes it just doesn't work that way, but we've been real fortunate that, Kyle and his family live right here, right close. My oldest daughter's married. She lives right down the road. And then we've got 2 girls that still live at home, and my father and brother also they live where they was brought up over the road about a mile and a half. So everybody eventually is still settling in the same place, and everybody likes it.
Do you see a race driver here in Adam?
I don't know if he'll make a race car driver or a ball player, but he's got his go-kart and his little race cars. So he's like all kids. Right now he's a big racer. We'll wait and see in about 15 years, see what happens.
Richard, you must have to really work your schedule around to spend as much time here as you do. I mean, with the kind of life that a professional race driver leads today, I suppose you could be gone as much as you're away. If you,
well, you really do have to work your schedule. I'm a county commissioner. I have to spend time with doing some of the political end of the deal. Your sponsors with different things. With STP, they want you to go here, do things here. Goodyear or Pontiac or racetracks, you've got to make appearances for them. And, over a period of time, I've drifted away from being Petty Enterprises or working on a race car into more of a celebrity or whatever you want to say. And this year I've ventured out where I can spend more time doing the sponsor deal, because as time progressed, the money and stuff has come from outside of racing as much as it's come from inside racing, and you've got to do a little bit of everything to make the show work. And it's the complexity of the racing has just changed so much in the last 4 or 5 years that it's hard to keep up with.
How much time in terms of percentages, can you devote to life here as a normal citizen of a Level Cross, North Carolina, and how much do you have to devote percentage-wise to Richard Petty, the race driver, and Richard Petty, the celebrity?
Well, I would say probably 2/3 of what I do is business-related, race-related, commercial-related, or whatever. And then, the other third, from time to time, you can enjoy yourself and do some of the stuff that you want to do. So I sort of enjoy it as I go along. But as far as just saying, okay, I'm going to work 3 weeks and take off a week, it don't work that way.
Richard, I can see why you and Linda needed a house this big, because you're both collectors. I mean, you really are seriously collecting stuff in this house.
Well, we collect, she collects dolls and a bunch of other stuff, and I collect a little bit of everything.
Now, tell me about this piano. This is a beautiful piece of
Well,
wood.
this is one Linda came up with when she was in the antique business, and it was just black all over when she brought it in, and she said she wanted it fixed. It's a self-player, and we got a little motor on it where you don't have to pump it, you know. But anyhow, and I took it apart, every piece apart except the main keys, and cleaned it up myself and fixed it up, and it come out real good. She tried to get me to do some other stuff, but I told her no, I'd just leave it on that.
Belt buckles. I can't believe this collection.
Well, I collect all kinds of stuff. I got a bunch of knives and stuff here, a bunch of different things over a period of time. But the belt buckles and stuff I got collected a long time ago with different companies, STP or Goodyear, Union, Bill, Helmet. You know, all the people that we did business with, most of them come up with a belt buckle from time to time. So I just didn't really buy many of them. I traded off a bunch. But anyhow, we just collect them over a period of time, and we just got, you know, gobs of them. There's some championship belt buckles and stuff like that naturally, too. And
this may be the biggest of all.
well,
That
this
is
is
a serious
boy made this one for me. It's stainless steel. Made it out of pipe and stuff, and welded the thing all up, and made the wires and done all the stuff, and then he buffed the thing. I guess a Jolly Green Giant could wear it, but it'd be a little heavy for me.
Richard, tell me real quickly about how we know 43 is your number, but your dad's number was 42, Kyle's number is 42. But where did 42 come from?
Well, the 42 came about like 1948 or 49 when Daddy first started. They didn't have any number for the car, so they said, you know, we need a number. And they went out, and the car that they were running, they took the first number and the last number of the license plate and said, hey, that looks like a good number, we'll just call it 42. And then when I come along, I just went one better. I went 43, and then Kyle went, when he come along, he went 42 until he got with 711, and naturally his number is 7 now.
I see. But 43 was just one bigger, one
more. Kyle wanted to do the 44, but somebody already had the number, so he had to backdrop to his granddaddy's number.
Cars, holy cats.
Well, these are just a collection of toy cars. Some of them are Kyle's. A bunch of these over here, I used to buy him when he was real small, matchbook toy cars, and they went for a price of like $1.98. Now they're like $20 or $25, so I just started collecting some on my own. But most of these are Ertl toys. They make a lot of different things for the race cars and stuff, and they've not only got Richard Petty, Darrell Waltrip, Cale Yarborough, you know, all the drivers and stuff, so I just trying to collect a little bit of all of it.
Now, the serious stuff. That I had no idea you were a watch collector.
Yeah, this is what I get serious in my collecting watches. I'm not too much about knowing what's what or anything. If I see one and I think it's pretty, then, you know, I try to work around to get it. But I probably got a collection of probably 250 or 300 watches.
Richard, where did you start? What prompted you to start these things?
I don't know, about 10 years ago, somebody come by and pawned a watch off on me. And boy needed some money, and I wound up with a watch, and I liked it. And the first thing you know, somebody else comes by, and I just sort of got into it. And it was just like I get into everything else. If I get one or two of them, then I start collecting. And I'm going to show you this one right here. Now, this is a super-duper old one. It's probably made in the late 1600s, early 1700s.
Is that a magnifier or a little?
It's magnifying glass where that you can really see what's going on. Got gold hands and the whole deal, but it's really a tricky watch. I don't know how in the world that you'd ever take it out and do all the stuff, but it's key drive and all that. But you get to looking at it here.
Look at that.
What's amazing about it is that they didn't have any tools. Everything was hand. There was no electricity, no grinders or anything. They had to do it all by hammer and a chisel. And the big deal on this one, it's chain driven.
Good Lord.
Now you can imagine trying to go down in there and get you a chain and put the links together and put that thing on and then wind it up and then the hands go around. So, you know, the workmanship on these old ones are much better. You like to look at them than the new ones because the new ones are stamped out and all this stuff. So it's, like I say, I don't know if it's worth anything or not. To me, the workmanship's worth something, so that's why I wind up collecting a lot of the stuff, and it might not be as pretty or as expensive as some of the other people's stuff, but the workmanship on this old stuff is really something.
Do you like to work with your hands?
Well, I always have. you know, I've always been creative. Even went to school and stuff. We used to do a lot of drawing and used to carve a lot of cars and you know, different things like that. And then when I got to working on a race car, naturally, you know, you work with your hands because you're building the race car from scratch. So yeah, I like to see other things that people have done by working with their hands.
The mechanical components then are these watches are as important to you as the aesthetics, the beauty of them.
Oh yeah, naturally, just like what was showing you this particular watch is that you know that everything on it was handmade. Nothing was drawn up with a computer and it stamped out or nothing. They did everything, every piece of that was no molded or nothing. They took a flat piece somewhere, cut all the teeth in it, did all the grinding, all the etching, and done all the figuring of how many, where the gears need to be to make sure that thing worked. And, you know, it was, probably took a man maybe 6 months to make one like that. And, you know, now people could make these, and it'd probably take them 6 months, but then you couldn't sell a thing for no $25,000, so nobody'd be interested in doing it.
How about collecting cars? You never got into really
Not really.
automobiles?
I guess really the reason I've never got into collecting cars were that every time I ever got a car, I wanted to work on the thing. And I've never had, lately, with all the racing stuff, I don't have the time to really spend on working with a car. I've got 5 or 6 different cars, but I've never been able to go out and really work on them or enjoy them. Like this right here, I can sit down and open these up and look at them, wind them up, and, you know, clean them up and stuff and spend my time and enjoy doing that.
Richard, that's an incredible collection and a side to you that I don't think a lot of people realize exists. And we'll be back with more with Richard Petty and the great drivers after this. Talked about collecting a lot of different things, but you collected a lot of votes actually over the years as a commissioner of Randolph County. How did that all transpire? How did you get into politics?
Well, I've been involved on the outside, I guess, for a long time. I've done a lot of campaigning for different people over a period of time, and I don't know, about 7, 8 years ago, we were sitting around talking about it, I guess, and our end of the county, of Randolph County, really wasn't represented, and we, at that time, we couldn't even figure out when the last time our part of the county had been represented. So
you mean by a Democrat or a Republican?
Well,
You're
by
Republican?
anybody. In other words,
Oh,
most of the time it was we're in a real rural area, so they didn't have a lot of people politicking on that. Since then, they broke it up now, and we've got 5 different districts, so every district around the county now is took care of. But at that time, they didn't, so, you know, I said, well, you know, I believe I'll just run. So I ran and got on in, I guess, 1978, and then we ran again a couple of years ago and got on again, so I still got a couple, 3 more years left.
And you attend every one of those meetings. You've only missed a couple, as I recall.
Well, we've done real good with it, really. They wind up having them on Monday, and most of the races and stuff I can get back to from the races. And most any of the special meetings and stuff, before they call a meeting, they call me to find out where I'm at, and then we try to do it. But most of the time they try to do it like on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we're in town most of the time first of the week. You know, it's been a very rewarding thing, I guess, because I got out and found out a lot of stuff that naturally I didn't know, and find out how the mechanism of a lot of the government works, especially local government. And I found out that the local government can't do a lot because the government from Washington sends stuff to Raleigh and tells them what to do, and the people from Raleigh sends it down to Randolph County and tells them what to do. So you know, sometimes you're handicapped in the things you can do. But again, it's I've spent a lot of time doing it, and I've spent a lot of time, you know, campaigning for them, not only for myself, but for a lot of other people over a period of time. And you know, in doing so, then I have spent a lot of time, probably more so than most of the regular race car drivers. Although they might endorse somebody from time to time, I don't think they spent the time year in, year out, and day in and day out that we have in politics.
Is there any specific reason why? Why does Richard Petty get involved in local politics? Is it an obligation that you feel you have to feed back to the community, or do you aspire to higher office, or where do you want this to take?
I don't really know. I got into the deal a little bit because our end of the county wasn't represented in 1978, and I felt like you know, our part of the county needed representation, and so I went ahead and ran for the office at that time, and really never thought about going a whole lot further. And right now I'm not thinking about going a whole lot further in politics. But you know, another 4 or 5 years when I get out of racing, or as things change, you know, I might decide that you know, I want to go on further. So from that standpoint, it'd be a good groundwork as far as being able to meet the people, find out how the system works, and you know, which way you need to go to get the thing done. And from that standpoint, I'm glad that I've went into it. And again, it's been very educational, whether you can do anything about it or not.
Richard, these periodic affairs open houses that you have for your fans, they're unbelievably successful. I know that some people estimate as many as 50,000 people showed up for the 25th anniversary. Why, again, do you do things that way?
Well, I got talked into this one again, too. I've been talked into every one of them the time before, but I think it's very, very good from the standpoint that the sponsors, you know, like our sponsors with STP or all the other people that's in racing, has a chance to show what's been going on, not just at the racetrack. The way it is, people come to the racetrack, they buy their tickets, they go in, they sit down, they watch a race, and they go away. Well, when we have open house or something like this, then everybody gets a chance to bring their stuff out, and the people come and stay 3 or 4 hours, and they don't really see the race, they don't see a show, they're just there, and it's a good selling point for racing. And you know, after all, if I can't sell racing, then I can't sell STP on the sponsorship or anybody else as far as that's concerned. So it's got to be a situation that what's made us has been the fans. And, you know, without the fans, there's no racing. You know, you're not interviewing me. We're not on TV. We've not got no sponsors. And so it's a round-robin deal. The more we can help the fans, the more they're going to help us. And I've just always got along good with the fans. I don't know why that I've spent a lot of time with them, and I think this is something that when they come, they show their loyalty to me, and when I have it, I show my loyalty to them, so it's sort of a trade-off.
Do you like being a public figure?
Well, I don't know. You know, it's good and bad, I guess, in everything. I guess if I was not recognized, then I'd feel bad about it. And sometimes I feel bad about it because I am. But it's good to be recognized to a certain extent. And I feel like I'm in a sort of middle plateau where people recognize you, but they don't bother you enough that it really bugs you. And I would imagine if they didn't bother me, then it would really bug me. I look at it from that standpoint.
But you can travel around Randleman, Level Cross, and be treated just as one of the folks, right?
Well, yeah, anytime we're in Level Cross, Randleman, or home, or, you know, commissioners meeting, any of this kind of stuff in Randolph County, you're just one of the good old boys. I was, you know, born here, raised here, went to school here, know most of the people, so you're just, you know, you're just one of the people now. You know, if you go to Charlotte or something, and you go into a place and eat, or go to Greensboro, then, you know, you're an outsider, and the people look at you a little bit different than I guess they don't know you. So they put you on a little pedestal. When you're home, you're home folks, and nobody pays that much attention to you.
Richard, there are an awful lot of guys in Grand National Stock Car Racing, especially the more successful drivers, who have remained close to their roots. Their families are strong, and there are very few divorces in them. The families are tightly knit. Can you explain that? Any reason for that?
Well, I guess probably as much as anything is the background that these people come up through. Most of the people, most of the drivers are not really that educated people. In other words, most of us went to high school. We didn't probably have the facilities to go on to college, probably didn't want to go on to college. Hard-working background with our parents. Their parents were workers. And all the boys grew up, they had to work. There was nothing to give to any of them. They're hard-working people, and a lot of church-going people, and their morale and morals and all this kind of stuff are pretty even key. And I think that's one of the backbones of NASCAR racing, is that it is a close-knit deal. Not only the people in the fraternity is close-knit, but each individual situation is close-knit. Even though we get mad at everybody and all this kind of stuff, today you have family squabbles too. But the overall situation is that morals of the people are such that they want to be family oriented, and they stick along to it pretty close.
I sure do, and it sure seems to work. We'll be back with more from Richard Petty and the great drivers following this. More surprises out of these cases and boxes. Guns this time.
Well, yeah, we got all kinds of guns too. We collect a little bit of everything. We got small Derringer here, and you know, and then we'll go to the big stuff here. Now, if you can't run them off with that,
Grand National size.
I can
gun.
run you off with this one. Right. This is one when you really get serious, you get this one out.
Are you trying to tell me something?
Well, I'm telling you, I didn't mess with you long enough. I think it's time you left.
I think we're taking a hint. Well, Richard, we've got a little something to add to the collection here, not as if you needed anything else, but I think maybe you could use another belt buckle. This is the belt buckle from the Nashville Network, and it's our way of saying thank you for having us in your house today and showing us your hospitality.
Thank you, sir. I'll put that right over there with the rest of them, especially being it don't cost me anything. I don't mind putting them up.
This one's absolutely free.
Thank you.
Thanks again for being with us, and thank you for being with us today with Richard Petty and the Great Drivers. I'm Brock Yates.